The government shutdown may have ended, but the fight is far from over. Now, Democrats are pressing to make permanent the COVID-era Obamacare subsidies that were a focus of the shutdown. Now, these subsidies, which were created as a temporary pandemic measure, are riddled with waste, fraud, and abuse, just like the whole program. But it's even worse. It continues to fund abortion and so-called gender transition procedures. Well, over the weekend, in my weekend program this week on Capitol Hill, I talked to the chairman of the House Freedom Caucus, Dr. Andy Harris, and I wanted to play that conversation for you. So the Democrats made Obamacare and these COVID-era extensions, subsidies, the focus of the government shutdown. Could this actually backfire on Democrats? Because now everyone's focused on why isn't this system working? Why did it need $1.5 trillion to bolster it?
That's absolutely right. Obamacare is a failure. We were promised that if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. That's obviously not true. If you like your insurance company, you keep your insurance company. That's obviously not true. And the premiums have skyrocketed. The only reason anybody is on it is because the federal government, after COVID, subsidized 95% of the average premium. That's ridiculous. We have to return the power over your health care to you. So that means price transparency. That means health savings accounts. That means getting the providers to accept the lowest that they've negotiated with some of the big insurance companies to level the playing field between the insurance companies and the average person.
So could we be, this could be a seismic shift where healthcare decisions and funding is being taken away from government bureaucrats and big insurance companies and placed into the hands of the people with a direct relationship with their doctors.
That's absolutely right, and that should be the goal. The fact of the matter is that right now, most people don't have any control over it. It's controlled by insurers who decide whether or not you're going to get health care, whether or not you qualify for surgery, whether or not you qualify for some drugs. That's crazy. That decision should be in the hands of the individuals, not the government, not the insurance companies. And we could expand this well beyond Obamacare. We could expand the HSAs and these policies that assure you that if you have an HSA, that you're getting favorable treatment in terms of pricing. We could expand that way outside the Obamacare.
This, to me, is how this has unfolded after the 43 days of the government shutdown, Democrats demanding, funding of these subsidies that are set to expire at the end of this calendar year. This is an unintended consequence, I think, of what the Democrats took, the position that they took. It sounds like from the president to members of Congress that we could be looking at an overhaul of the affordable or the not so affordable Care Act.
And that's absolutely right. And again, what we can do is we can take some of those subsidies, those huge subsidies we've been paying to insurance companies, give the lion's share of that into someone with an HSA, and then have them go out and buy their care. If they want a catastrophic health insurance plan so that they're not going to go bankrupt, God forbid they need expensive cancer drugs or expensive surgery, that's fine. But again, that should be their decision, not the decision of the government.
So these subsidies are set to expire, and as you said, it's underwriting the astronomically high payments that are required, the health care payments, insurance payments. They're set to expire. People are going to be hit with a pretty big spike in their health care costs. How quickly will Congress be able to move on this?
Well, look, if we put the plans together, we can't do a comprehensive overhaul of Obamacare before December 31st, but we could start down that path and we could start making inroads. And then if we have to, we can revisit it after the first of the year. The Democrats want to extend these ridiculous Biden bonuses, these COVID-era enhancements for 3 years. Now, maybe we just extend some of them partially for 6 months while we negotiate all the rest of this. But in the end, there is going to be a negotiation on the high cost of health care premiums for the other 93% of Americans who aren't on Obamacare. That's going to be part of this discussion.
All right, let me ask you something else. A minute left. Something else that is going to have to be a part of this discussion. The Affordable Care Act, the subsidies that we've been talking about, they do not have the Hyde protections that prevent taxpayer money from being spent on abortion or transgender surgeries. Is that a part of the conversation?
Oh, it absolutely is. With Mike Johnson being Speaker of the House, he is not going to bring a bill to the floor that does not include Hyde protections. That's taken for granted.
All right. Well, that's promising because that is a big step forward from what we've seen in the past. Congressman Andy Harris, always great to see you. Thanks so much for taking time to join us today.
Thank you.
Well, again, that was part of my conversation with House Freedom Caucus Chairman Dr. Andy Harris on the weekend program this week on Capitol Hill. Now, at the end of that discussion, you heard us talking about the Hyde Amendment. Now, many may not be aware of this, but the Obamacare, that was the ACA, Affordable Care Act, not so Affordable Care Act, was deliberately structured to sidestep the Hyde Amendment. That goes back to Henry Hyde, that just made sure that no taxpayer money went to fund abortion. Well, they sidestepped that. So what's happened? Well, the result is Americans have been forced to subsidize practices that violate deeply held convictions about life and human identity, because now it's being used to fund these gender transition surgeries. So during the debate that's going to be taking place on Capitol Hill over health care, I need you to weigh in, and I would encourage you to sign our petition that we're going to send to the House Speaker and the Senate Majority Leader. No more taxpayer funding for abortion and gender transition procedures. Text ACA to 67742. 67742.